Hey y'all. So I want to do like a little personal story time. I never do personal story times, but the reason why I want to give you guys a personal story time on this specific topic is because I see that a lot of women are believing for marriage. And I think that that is a beautiful thing. I think it's a wonderful thing. But I also see that there are a lot of you that are believing for somebody else's spouse. Whether you're believing for a man that is in the process of divorce, or you're believing for a man who is separated and telling you he's gonna get divorced. You're bombarding, you think you're bombarding heaven, but really you're bombarding the gates of hell with your request to be unified or united, to be in a union with somebody else's spouse. And it's not going to work, sis. And it's not going to work, bro. And I'm about to tell you a story. And this is a real, valid, legitimate story, okay? This really happened to me. And this happened to me. I'm not about to tell you a secondhand story, a third-hand story. This happened to me, okay? So in 2018, I reconnected with my high school sweetheart. Now, at this time, he had been lying and saying that he was divorced. He was telling his family he was divorced. He told me he was divorced. He had this whole, y'all, by the way, excuse my nails. My daughter did them, okay? So I'm wearing them. So, but he had been telling everybody that he knew that he was divorced, okay? And the wife, she couldn't defend herself because she didn't even know that this lie was being told, because we lived in Arkansas, she lived in another state on the other coast of the country, or on the other side of the country. So he's lying and saying he's divorced. We end up reconnecting shortly after we get pregnant. I'm gonna try to speed it along. Shortly after I get pregnant, okay? The pregnancy from the beginning was hell. I was hemorrhaging. I got pneumonia. I was sick the whole pregnancy. Just all the things and all the stuff. So around, the baby was due in April of 2019. Around January of 2019, I started experiencing the symptoms of preeclampsia, but we didn't know that at the time. I actually didn't get diagnosed with preeclampsia until after the events happened that I'm about to tell y'all about. So I started experiencing the symptoms of preeclampsia. At the end of January, I believe I had to be hospitalized for 2 days. They stabilized me, sent me back home. And I progressed through the month of February and everything. And then on February 21st, I was helping him move his stuff into his new apartment, and we ended up having sex. And that is the day when God was like, enough is enough. So we have sex, I go home, as soon as I get home, I start feeling these extreme pains in my abdominal area. And at first I'm just kind of like, I gotta go to the bathroom, like what's going on? I guess I just need to go to the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom. The pains get worse, and then I start to feel lightheaded. So I go to stand up so that I can go and get in the bed. But when I stand up, I collapse to the floor. I lost my vision. I lost most of my vision, not all of it. I lost most of my vision. I could barely talk to tell anybody what was wrong with me, but there was no bleeding or anything. So there was a nurse in close proximity to where I was. She ended up checking me. I hadn't dilated any. Cervix still closed. So they called the ambulance. The ambulance comes and gets me. I really wasn't allowing anybody to touch me at that point because I was in so much pain. They get me to the hospital. We go through all the tests. They get me on all the monitors and everything. I'm not having any contractions, but I'm in severe pain. They can't find a vein. So they're blowing all of my veins, trying to get an IV in me. And I'm pissed off because I'm in pain. The nurses are pissed off because they're having to deal with this crazy lady. And it seems like nothing is wrong with her except for her blood pressure is low and she keeps saying she's in pain. So, they do an ultrasound. They look, they don't see anything at all. But they diagnosed me with a kidney infection. And they put me in the part of the hospital where they keep like high risk moms for observation. So throughout the night, my baby stops moving. So they come in the room, they're trying to flip me, in different positions to see if they can get the baby to move. They're trying to keep me on the monitors to make sure that, her heart is beating and everything. So at about 1 o'clock in the morning, I just got tired of them. Well, it might have been 12, like the late 12 a.m. hour. I got tired of them flipping me around and stuff. And I just looked at them and I said, look, can y'all just deliver my baby? Of course, I'm like a little bit more distressed. I'm crying. I'm in pain. And I'm like, can y'all just deliver the baby? And one of the nurses was like, no, we can't. You're not far enough along yet. And as soon as she's saying that, another nurse comes in the room. And she's like, actually, her doctor said we're going to start prepping her for a C-section. So they had to do general anesthesia because I had no epidural. We were not preparing for a baby that night. I go under general anesthesia, and as much pain as I'm in, I genuinely believe that I was going under general anesthesia and that I was not coming back out. Like, that was the thought process that I had at that point. But I was fine with that as long as they saved my baby. So I wake up the next day, 8 a.m., and the doctor is kind of explaining to me what happened. He's explaining to me, mind you, they put me out at 1, okay? I don't wake up until 7 or until 8. So he's explaining to me, like, the reason why, your recovery is taking so long is because we had to stop your C-section. We had to stop mid C-section to get a vascular surgeon because there was so much blood that we thought that you had severed something. He was like, I've delivered babies your age, and I'm in my 30s now. He was like, I've been delivering babies for a long time. I've delivered babies that are now your age. I have never in my life seen anything like this. He said that they pulled out a blood clot that was the size of a Jell-O mold. For black people, that's like a bundt cake. I think it's called a bundt cake. They pulled out a fairly large Jell-O mold. A fairly large Jell-O mold size blood clot. He said that they done at that, my bad, my camera stopped, my phone stopped. But he said at that point that they had done 3 blood transfusions and they were working on my 4th. And the baby was intubated. She couldn't breathe on her own. She basically needed like caffeine for her brain to, keep processing and stuff like it needed to. She had a PICC line. She had a feeding tube in her belly button at that point. We went to go see her, like the most just tubes coming from everywhere. Okay. It was a very, very, very like startling sight. So like I said, at this point, I still had no idea that this man was married. Fast forward, we get her out the NICU. 6 weeks later, she's home. June of that same year, his phone is going off. I pick the phone up, and there is a message on Facebook Messenger from the woman that is supposed to be his ex-wife that says, so when are we going to talk about getting a divorce? The reason why I'm telling y'all this story, I'm not crying my eyes watering. The reason why I'm telling y'all this story is, number one, some of y'all need to run for your lives, literally. Literally. You need to run for your life. Second of all, y'all need to stop sleeping with these married people. Quit sleeping with married people. I genuinely believe that the only reason why God spared my life is because I had no idea. But the principles of the kingdom, whether you know or not, the principles of the kingdom still apply. The principles of God still apply, okay? And then I also want y'all to think about this. While that man or that woman is telling you, hey, I'm separated, I'm getting a divorce or whatever, you don't know what that spouse is at home praying for. And God don't let it be somebody that understands covenant. Please don't let it be somebody that understands covenant. But what I'm saying to y'all is, and what I want to convey to y'all is, the punishment for committing adultery is death. And you might not be as blessed as I am to live and tell the story. Okay, like I said, I really believe that the only reason why God spared me is because I had no clue. Y'all need to cut it out.